Hello everyone, welcome to this video where I'm actually going to be doing a massive transformation on this Mercedes C-Class. The owner of it has seen a lot of my other videos and they've kind of just been like, wow, okay, this is awesome, but there's a specific kit that I would like installed into this car. So I've been able to source the bits and pieces that they wanted. I'll leave a link for them all down below in the description. But yeah, this is going to be a really big transformation. We're doing ambient lighting, we're changing over like the speaker trims and the vents and those kind of things. Also looking at installing the Android head unit, which is going to be a really nice big upgrade. It's definitely going to be a very involving install. There's a lot of different bits and pieces required here, a lot of wiring to be dealt with as well. I'm going to show you all around very quickly what the car's like at the moment, and then I'll look at unboxing everything so you can see all the bits and pieces. So everyone, here is what the car looks like at the moment. This car's even got the clock in the center here as well, which is really nice. As you can kind of see as well, there's some ambient lighting on the doors. It's not very prominent. The other thing I wanted to show everyone was the screen. Now this is the stock screen. As you can see, it's got the large bezels going all the way around. So this car does actually come with 3 color ambient light. So I've matched that with the kit that we've got for the vents and everything. The setup we're going for on this car, you're gonna definitely be able to tell the difference. I'm just gonna open up this box. And inside here is basically all the kits. This is the light kit. I think this goes onto the back of the seats. Inside this one, so this is where all the speakers are, speaker covers, the vents. Oh, this is going to be a seriously crazy install. And then over here, what's this? Oh, this is the tweeters. Oh, wow. Okay, this is going to be very nice. This is for the rear as well, so this is the rear vents. Plus, we've got the Extrons unit as well. Beautiful. Wow, okay. So I think how I'm gonna do this right now is I'm gonna dismantle everything inside the car next, take everything apart that I need to, and then as I'm installing everything, I'll go over the parts that I'm basically installing, reviewing them a little bit, just so then you all get a bit more of an insight into it all. So without further ado, join me in the garage. We're gonna basically dismantle. So everyone, this is a nice cool little point for me. Basically everything that I need to remove off the car has been removed. So I'm just going to show you all everything that has been removed and just talk over a few bits, just so it makes removing it for you, if you are going to tackle this yourself at home, a little bit easier. So the doors are pretty much straightforward. You've got the 2 T25s that you need to remove. The one bit that you have to be careful of is this strip at the top here. That's for the rear doors. They're a bit awkward. You have to really pull on it. This you really have to yank towards you. And it was pretty awkward to pull that up. So this centerpiece here, what you want to do is you want to pry off the top like this, and then you need to pull it upwards. As you'll have a look at the clips here, the top ones kind of sit in here, but they're easy to lift up as you're bringing it up this way. So you pry it up this way, but then the other, you need to get your hands on each side and then yank it towards you, upwards, and not towards the rear. That's the important thing to remember there. Front doors are pretty much the same as the rears. You just got the 2 screws again and you work your way around. The one thing you have to be careful on the front door is this piece here. You have to lift the door card up and out of this little groove. At the same way, you also have to slide it downwards onto there when you're installing it back on. Or the other thing I like to do is actually just disconnect this from the door. So you just get the trim removal pieces behind it and pull it out. And that way you'll be able to put that onto the door card first and then slot it all back in. To start off over here, you have to remove this piece. Now the best way to do this is loosen the sides up over here, work your trim removal piece through to the back, or the other option is work it from the rear here. But what you're trying to do is get access to these points on both sides. You need to squeeze these two in and then it'll all pull up. It's a bit challenging. You kind of have to fiddle with this a little bit, and because you also got these clips on the sides here, there and there, so those two. But as you work the way up, you'll be able to pull those up. You remove the two screws in the center. The one that I've always struggled with in the past was actually the wire that holds on the cigarette lighter. What you have to do is you have to kind of get your hand grip on it enough to pull it upwards and out. Best way to do that is, you probably saw me, I held the center console piece against my chest and then pulled up onwards on the wire. I was kind of doing it more from feel than actual sight because I couldn't see it. But as I pulled up towards me, I was holding the center console piece so it wasn't going to damage anything. I wasn't putting too much pressure on just the wire. Everything else, all the other clips are kind of easy to remove. Some of them you can remove from the center console piece, like these ones, and then these two are removed from the actual car and left it attached to the center console piece still. The two screws up here, best trick that I have, you probably saw me do it there, is use your phone camera with the torch on, have a look, find the screws and then loosen them. T25s if I remember correctly for those two, or the T20s, and then you unscrew them and then it will allow the screen to slide out. And then with these two pieces you just pop them off and that's it, everything's removed. Now the next step is to dismantle the door cards, getting the speaker points ready and stuff like that. Remove the last two vents that are actually still on the car. So everyone, I've just done this on the driver's side and I'm kind of talking about it in this one. So what you're in essence trying to do is get two of these hooked in inside of this vent. I'm gonna go grab the other one actually. So this one I've kind of already dismantled. So we've got the chrome piece there. This is like the main vent piece. Inside here you've got these two little points. And what you're trying to do is hook these into here where you can grab onto it like that, and then you're yanking on it to pop this whole thing out. It's pretty hard work, I'm not gonna even lie. This car seems to be the hardest car I've ever done it on. I'd like to use this one because it's got the hook in action, so it's actually embedded in. Now if you want to use this you can, but you're just basically going against it. If I show you here, whereas this sits against it like that, as you're pulling it can sometimes slide out. This is much harder to slide out. This is literally, when it's in there, it's hooked in. I'm just putting you somewhere a little bit better so I can use this light here. You need to ideally hold like this and then just... Right, that took this piece off instead, which is fine. Because really we're not going to be using this. This makes hooking into here a lot easier. Woo! Then that shook the whole car. Now technically the car has everything off it removed. So all the vents are off, center console, everything. So that was the one piece that I forgot to talk about earlier on. But it's all good, happy days. Now it's about dismantling those two and we can actually start piecing together the rest of it. We can actually start getting the vents sorted and all those other little bits and pieces. So along with the vents, I forgot to talk about removing these. So you just got to kind of hook these out. This car actually doesn't have any speakers here, but that's not a problem. We can still, you know, not in essence do anything with this. So I'm just going to leave this on the side. All you're literally doing is bringing the right part out and then bringing it upwards, unhook it from these two. These tabs at the bottom is where the door card slides into. So the door card basically slides into there and sits at home. So you want to take this off after taking off the door card, not before. This is going to be amazing. I can't wait to finish this car. So let's have a look at this compared to the new replacement part. So inside the boxes for this comes this little package as well as this, which I'm not sure how this is all going to wire up together. So I'm gonna kind of play around with this a little, but taking this out, comparing it with the other one, it's got this nice little protective, you know what, some ASMR right now. Oh, oh my god, this is on there so tight. It's new next to old. Kind of want to see what this looks like fitted on. Now, the one thing is this does have a wire for the tweeter, so it's a nice little upgrade for that, as well as this actually has the motor mechanism, so this is going to actually rotate and come out. Oh, it's going to look so good. Join me over at the driver's store and I'm going to try wiring this up. So for this, some other wiring going on here. Oh, I've got to deal with this wiring here now because that's really stopping me. It's kind of stopping the motor part, but if I come up higher, hopefully I'll be able to. This is actually hard work, so I need to figure this out. So everyone, here's what I've kind of had to do. I've pushed this little trim piece off and slid the two pieces on over here. It was just much easier to do. In fact, I'll show you all how much easier that was. So if you have a look through here, you can just literally slide them back on. And now it's just a matter of sliding the whole thing back into place. So I'm just going to do that now. So just start up from the edge over here. As I get closer, I just got to come round and make sure this is hooking itself back around the right way. There we go. That's basically all home now. It's going to connect these cables back up. That was much easier to do that way than struggling with the other stuff. That wiring there is basically quite thick behind the motor for this. I think I'm definitely going to do the same when I do the other side as well. One thing to note here is the original speaker wire. You get this attachment piece here. And what I'm going to do is connect this attachment piece up into the black part here. This then makes it into two little outlets. So one is going to clip into the tweeter over here, and another one is going to connect up into the original car speaker, or what will be the replacement cover for the grille and stuff like that. This then means that this tweeter will work. It will produce the same sound as the normal speaker, so it's not going to be just the highs, it's going to be a little bit of the highs and the mids. This white wire connects up into this box here. I got a feeling this is something to do with the controlling of the ambient lights and stuff and allowing the car to speak to it all correctly. This is going to connect up, I think, to the wires going through and out of the door. This power one connects up into number 6 here, and then this connects up to the original one that goes into here. That harness now distributes it out to everything else, so everything gets power and earth and everything, while the original one gets to be kept nice and safe. So that's how the tweeter wiring is sorted, as well as the rest of the door. What I'm going to also do is tap into the Live and Earth on this wiring module. That's going to basically allow me to wire in the universal ambient light kit as well, because they wanted to go for that. So it's going to have that two-tone effect, which is going to look really nice and smart. That's basically the majority of the wiring done over here, apart from that extra wire that I need to add on. So everyone, right now is the really fun bit for me, which is to remove the trim piece at the top, aka this section from the door cards. That involves me taking off all these metal clips just over here, and that's going to allow me to install the 7 light ambient kit, so it's going to have that two-tone effect. It does take some time to do this, so I advise everyone, please, if you are going to do this at home yourself, take your time, because you don't want to break the metal clips as well as the plastic tabs that come up. But once that's done, this is basically the hardest part of the install, in my opinion, because it does take a lot of time. It is quite tedious. Each door genuinely can be really annoying to do, but once it's done, that's the hardest bit, and then you can start building everything back up. I'll let you all watch me do it a little bit on this one. I'm gonna do the same on all the other doors, and then we'll jump back into the rest of the install. So with this, it's all actually basically glued in from what I can tell. So what you just gotta do is prise it away a little bit from this glue, which might be a bit harder than you might first expect or hope. Definitely does not look like fun, that's for sure. But you basically just gotta get it off from this really awkward glue. Again, just take your time with this. I would say don't worry too much about the tabs if they do break on this, because one, you're replacing them. You can probably sell them still if you really wanted to, but they don't really get used, these tabs. They're kind of just there for guidance, because the glue is basically what's doing the hard work here. And there we go. That's one off. Very nice. You can see all this glue. That's basically what's been holding it on this whole time. Now we can tell that it goes on like this. The bottom part is just there. And with the replacement, it's also got the same logo on at the bottom as well. So this looks like it's the other way around. So each one of the speakers, you can tell the S is a certain way of the logo. So I'm actually going to find the other one that matches this same original one, so I can match them all up when I'm putting it all back together. You get these wiring harnesses as well. They're going to be used a little bit later on, but here we are. As you can see, the S logo just over here is matching the same way. That's what I'm looking for. And this just basically all clips back on. You got a little point just at the top there to make sure it lines up just here. Once you line that up, that's it, clipped in, looking nice and fresh, ready to be installed back on. I'm going to now do the other ambient light strip over the top, and then we're going to have a really nice clean finish. The other thing you have to be careful of when doing the front doors is you got the control module for the seat controls. So you're just going to unclip these basically, that's it. And then carry on doing everything else as you normally would with the rest of the doors. Up next is going to actually be the drilling part. And what I'm going to be looking at doing is drilling in a hole over in the corner here. Kind of nerve-wracking to cut up and drill into this. But at the same time, it should be okay because I've done it before and I know you don't really see anything off of it later on. And over here we've got the ambient light kit that I'm using. Once I get the tubing in, which is basically the hardest part, I'll then be able to put the trim piece back on, cover everything back up, turn it round, sort out the wiring with the lights, and we'll be good to go. The one thing that I am doing different with this install is I've got a different fiber tube that I've managed to locate. Again, it will be linked in the description below. Now this is supposed to be a lot cleaner and nicer of a fiber optic wire to use for the lighting. So I'm gonna test it out on this car. Fingers crossed it comes out really nice. It does cost a little bit more. You do have to buy it separately, but it might be worth it. So I'm gonna do the testing out and hopefully you will like the results. I will say, comparing it already, it just looks a lot cleaner. It's got like a double edge here as well compared to this, and it just looks a lot more transparent. There's no breaks in it compared to that, so this is looking to be quite promising. I'm just going to do this how I normally would, which is just create a little snip at the end. Ooh, this actually cuts really nice. It's more plastic than rubbery compared to the other one. So everyone, I've got the tube through on the left hand side here. I've got this trim piece ready. Now the cable does run through the middle here, so you kind of got to be careful around this clip and over here. So you just put it through this hole, down through the middle here, and you should be all right. So line that all up, get this piece ready. And now I always like to start from this corner first where the hole is, and just basically get the trim pressed in on the corner first. And because this does have that little ridge going through it, it's a little bit more challenging to pop it in compared to the other W205 installs that I've done. But worst case scenario, just bend it back a little bit. Like you just twist the door card a little bit that way, and it gives you that little bit of space to slide it in. So as you start clipping it, is going to start forming back into shape. Take your time, slide it in. That looks good. Now I'm going to leave it like this for the time being until I actually install everything back into the car. But I'm really happy with how that's turned out. I actually really like the way this material is. It might need a little bit of double-sided tape underneath here just to stop it from moving around too much, but it's locked in. It's not going to really pop out because of the second ridge just underneath there. So ideally I want it to sit like that, where it's not going to move at all, which it might actually happen once it's actually on the car. But just in case, I'm just going to apply a little bit of double-sided tape on this section here. I don't like glue. It leaves a residue on the panel and those kind of things, so try to avoid glue as much as you can. This is the double-sided tape that I use. It's extremely thin, and all I literally do is just rip a piece off. I try not to add too much of it because you run the risk of someone being able to see it. Loosen it up a little bit. And it's got the wax little cover piece on top. This fiber optic will look better, but it is not as easy to work with here. You can't see it, but it's just there, just adding that little bit of extra stickiness. And what I'm doing right now is just one. You've got the little end of this over here. Just connecting this up, pulling it through the tube. That's on there. That shouldn't move really at all. I've got everything else connected here, and this is the wire for the speaker grill cover. And all I'm doing here is this live and earth will be connected to the live and earth on the actual car. I can just disconnect it from here, connect this up to the car, and then I'll be able to stick this down on here afterwards, make it all nice and fresh, and that'll be it. It'll all be connected and done. Yeah, it should be nice. Again, make sure you got this one connected. The door and all the other bits, they'll be connected up at the end after we've done all the rest of the wiring. We can call it a good day. All I'm doing is on each one of the doors, you have this box. The white tab, which is number 3 on this. The brown and the red, that is the live and earth. It's a constant live and earth to the door module, but because the main module for the ambient lights going to be powered to the cigarette lighter, that's going to basically stop all the lights staying on a constant basis, because the cigarette lighter done by ignition, and that's going to stop all the universal kit from staying on, because the main one that's going to be connected here is going to turn off when you turn the car off. The good thing here is when you turn the car back on, it will stay on in the same settings as it was when you left the car. So if certain color, certain brightness, all those kind of things, it'll all stay exactly as it was as you left the car. So what I'm doing here is just loosening up a little bit of this tape here. This just gives you a little bit more space with the cable, and all you really want to do is just have a little bit more room to work with. But like I've always said, be careful when doing this stuff and take your time. Right, that should be enough. I can tap into these wires a little bit. I like to do this one at a time. So first I'm going to do the live, connect everything up here, and then I'm going to do the earth. There we go, got that little bit of space there. Now with these T connectors, what I got to do here is first, with this open one, hook this on, and then that's it. I'll leave a link for these in the description below. They come in a large packet, but really good. Or eBay's a little bit cheaper, and Amazon Prime just gets to you a little bit faster. So do the same on the earth, and then do the same for all the doors, and you'll be set. Before you connect this up, get your cables running through it correctly, connect these ends up, and then you're all set to go. It's all nice and secure. You just gotta crimp these. So as you can see here, I'm just basically crimping this all up together, getting a nice solid crimp. So once you're all done, you should have the wires coming through like this, and that's all ready to connect up. Because of the extra wiring we've got going for the lights and all those bits, that's all set up already over here. So we've got this blue connector, this white one for the center speaker, and this to get connected up back to the center speaker. One of the wires will also need to go back in here. I think it's number 5. and then just connect up everything else on the door, and then that door is done. So can't wait to get that door sorted. It'll be the first finished product, and then I got to do the same for all the others. Another part to the install is going to be changing over the rear vents. So just got the new one. So when you take these out, you'll see it as it is. This looks like some plastic connector of some sort. So this is going to basically swap with that. So I just need to now figure out how to remove the original ones. Best way to figure that out is to look at the other ones. Oh, okay, so there's 2 tabs up here, I think. Yeah, there we go. Got those 2 tabs off. And then the bottom ones, I think, will just slide out. Pinch them together as well at the bottom. Woo, that was fun. So it's just these 2 tabs here and these 2 tabs here. So before you actually put on the new one, you actually have to take off the silver trim piece here. Literally all you got to do is just prise it a little bit. There's 4 little clips on it. I'll show you over here. It's just the 4 little clips. You just squeeze it in a little bit and it slides out. So what I have realized is you need to take off this little button piece off here. So all you literally got to do is there's 2 little like clip points inside here. If you turn it to that way, you'll be able to get to it. Push those in. While pushing these in, you've got to basically keep pulling on it. But yeah, you just got to slide this out then. Try to keep as much of this as you can because you never know what you're going to need in the future. With the kit, basically comes 2 different versions of this. I think that just depends on which one of these you're going to be using. It's 2 different diameters, so that's a smaller one, that's a larger one. This one needs the larger one. Now on this, it actually does come with these little surrounds as well. So just take them off, put them on. You got a groove up top and the bottom here, so just line it up accordingly. Push past those 4 little connection points. That's on there nice and tight. Now this button, I think it goes on. I'm looking at the old one as well, so kind of fits on like this. Slide that in. So on this, you got these 2 little slits, one here and one here. So this basically just slides in between those 2. It's gonna be a little bit awkward. Once it's in, you've got that. I'm pretty sure that's it. Put on this whole unit again. So starting from the bottom, push it in real nice and deep, and there you go. That's the whole piece done. So inside of this, you got the little bearing at the bottom. That bearing basically, it's got a little slit just there that goes over it like this, and then you can kind of squeeze it together. So push this through like that, bearing facing towards the bottom. That's it. It's going to stop this from moving out. It does mean that this is redundant. You're not going to use it again, but everything else is now connected up. This is the wiring, so this just connects up to each side like this. Aha, no. Maybe I should have done the wiring before I put this all in. But bring the wiring around through from the underneath and then connect it up this way. There we go. The wiring comes down here. This wiring is going to get connected up to other points, but that I'm going to deal with later on. At least this is done. Now what I'm doing is preparing the side vents as well. All you got to do here is there's 4 little tabs inside here, and on the corners, if you just find those tabs up from the back, just bring in a little piece and you'll basically just be able to bit by bit loosen up the whole thing off from here. So all you got to do is disconnect those clips, get it so that it's not holding on the piece anymore. As you're doing it, just try to pull on it a little bit so you're just not allowing it to sit back down. There we go. That one was holding it in place. I'm leaving it as it is for the time being. Reason being is because when I come to fitting on the new vents, I want to know which way this was, and then just swap this piece out and put in the new one. Pretty sure it is going to only fit one way, but just in case, I'm removing that element of possibility of getting it wrong. So everyone, the top part is basically got this oval piece just over here. I'm gonna swap it around from that one, slide this one on. Yeah, I gotta take that piece off because it's not going around the trim piece. So figured it out. All you gotta do is really push behind these little points here. So there's one here. Just gotta kind of get something in between, and then it will slide out like that. Get those 4 pieces in, then get this bad boy back on. Oh wow, that looks good. That looks nice and clean. Ooh, that's ready to get installed back in. I'll do this one as well. So, and then once I've done them both, put them into the right places in the car so I don't get them mixed up as to which one goes where. Because from what I can tell, the silver trim pieces on here are different on the two. This one has it facing downwards, this one's up at the top. So that's just something that I've picked up on. And yeah, and then get them ready to go back in. When I've started to unravel the wiring harness for the 5 vents, 2 of them are quite long away from each other. So there you go. These 2 are going to be used for the 2 driver and passenger side ones. They're the same length. These 3 are going to be used in the center console. They're all looking to be the same. And then we've got basically all the connection points over at the bottom here. So next up, I think what I'm going to do is prepare the center vents, get those all ready, and then I'll be able to work in with the rest of where the wiring goes, because there's also these points. So I need to figure out which one goes where so I can tell you all what you need to do. So everyone, to remove the front vents from the center console, you've literally just got these 4 clips holding it in place. So you just got to kind of push down. Ideally you do 2 at a time like that, so you can kind of push that one side downwards like so, and then come in, because it is definitely tricky over to do this. Right, there we go. That's the first one's done. And then once you get this one loose, another one. So actually, from what I can tell, if you do these 2 first, kind of, I'm gonna come around this way so you guys can all watch. So just do these 2 first. Right, and that makes the other 2 a little bit easier to take off. So with this, we've got to remove this silver trim piece next, and then we can get access to this. Try to keep these in order. I think these are all the same, but just keep them in order just to make your life a little bit easier. You can see these little grooves on the sides, which is pretty similar to what I was doing earlier. It is awkward, but we need to get this ring off. Take your time. We basically gotta make sure we get this ring off first. It's all clipped in place, so it's not as simple as just unscrewing it or anything like that. But you don't want to damage this silver piece because this is going to be reused, so we have to be careful with that. So from here, just gonna glide this across as much as I can. That was a struggle, but I'm starting to get some headway. There we go. Got it off eventually. That's annoying. Both pieces came off at the same time. But that's one off. Might as well stick the new one on straight away. So that's the top. Gosh, removing this silver trim piece is really awkward. Managed to get it off eventually. There's one point where you got a little bit more visibility at the bottom underneath the clip, so just really jam one of these points in there and pry it up. That's the only way I can think of doing it. But got the top there. There's the top here. So slide this on first. Make sure everything's lined up. And then put this back up on top. Fight with it a little again. Ah, so frustrating. There we go. It's getting on there now. Happy days. We'll start from the right hand side. No, we'll start from the middle. Start from the middle. Slide that through. Just check it from this side over here. That looks good to me. So, now I gotta put this to the side and do the same with the other two. So everyone, that's basically all three of them on done and dusted. It did take a little bit of time to get it done, but it looks amazing. I'm really happy with the results. Now it's a matter of the rear seats that I still have yet to do, which might be a little bit tricky, but hopefully I'll figure that out. And then routing most of the wiring. So I got to do the footwell light as well as the light for the dashboard, and then I'm basically done for the hard stuff. Then it's just a matter of finishing up the doors and I'm all good to go. So another very exciting part on this car is going to be the rear seat backing. So this is the actual kit. It comes with a wiring loom which basically connects up over here. It's good that I'm having a look at the wiring as it is, just so I have an understanding of where it all was and what I can do with it switching over. I do think that this is on the wrong section. This should be at the bottom and this should be connected up here, because this is like a split, and that split's going to allow me to connect it with the vents and all those other bits and pieces. So it's good that I got everything removed from the car. Everything's out in the open, so I can do it all. And it's going to be a seriously massive transformation on this car. So really happy to get this opportunity to do it. Let's go. Let's carry on. So it's a new day. Got pretty late last night. Worked until midnight, past midnight actually. I think it was close to 1 a.m. As I do with all my other installs, what I do is I basically connect the cigarette lighter. I connect it to the footwell light as well as the main ambient light that I'm going to use on the dashboard. That just helps with regards to, like I said earlier on, with turning on and off with the ignition. It also means one less connection point. So I'm just going to basically join these two up together. The rear seats on this car are so new that, yeah. Right, so I've sorted out the wiring over here. This is the wiring from the cigarette lighter, so that's going to just be the connection points. Now, I'm going to look at lifting up the center console purely because it'll be easier to route the wire through. What I've noticed is if you take off the two T20 screws over here, then this whole piece at the top slides up and out. The reason why I say it slides up and out is you got these two little points here and here where that bit there hooks in. So it kind of hooks in like this. So you just gotta lift it up and out like that. Removing everything from inside here very quickly. So up next, gotta take out this mat. Then you got your two bolts basically just in here. Undo those bolts and it should loosen up the rear of this. Again, for me, the importance of loosening this all up is because I want to have good cable management and be able to just maneuver everything the way I want it to. So funnily enough, I still did have to dismantle a little bit more than earlier on, but it just means that I'm getting that better, cleaner finish that I wanted overall. Coming over to the seat backs, what you can basically do is route the wiring through here, down, and then up through into the center console area, which is what I'm going to look at tackling next because I really want to get that piece done. I am really trying to get this as a very, very clean finished result because each time I do it, I want to do something better than I did before. And that's the main thing really for me now. I want to carry on with this. So to remove the rest of this center console piece, you've got four T20 screws. I think it's T20. Yep, T20. So you got 1, 2, and then 3, and the fourth one over here. These are the last 4 you need to remove, and then you'll be able to lift up and move out this entire piece. Now, if I was trying to remove the whole piece out, I can just disconnect the wiring here and, you know, I'll be able to deal with it all, which I might actually look at doing. But the main thing for me here is I just want to be able to route the wiring around everywhere. So this is actually quite easy to do. I will say it takes a little bit of time, but it's going to save me a lot of time in terms of routing the footwell lights, the rear lights, the vent lights, all these other bits. So it's worthwhile doing. In all fairness, I wish I'd done it with the other cars in the past. Scratch that, I decided to basically remove everything and just disconnected all the clips over here. Some of them are pretty easy. You just gotta undo the attachments and stuff. Just undo all the clips. There's two on here that have these little metal clips and stuff, so you just gotta really yank on it and lift it up or prise it off. They're just connected to over here. But that's it. The whole piece can now just get moved out of the way. Now's the fun bit of doing the rear seats. So I'm gonna route the wires through, under, and ideally under the carpet if I can try to do that. So fingers crossed I can have some good luck with that. It's gonna be good. So with these seat backs, they both fit either side. All I've got to do is with the wiring harness that comes with it, just undo that very quickly, and then you got these two little connection points at the sides. 1, 2. That's going to feed the light really nicely through the whole thing, make it a nice even glow. Now the wiring at the bottom, this is the piece that we gotta be careful with. Now if you look at the wiring, you can kind of see that this is more towards the right hand side, so I'm going to put this door back on the left hand door because then it's closer to the center console. It's just the way I want to go about it. Obviously you can switch this around whichever way you want to do it, but that's what I'm going to do there. Get it all ready inside the car. Now I'm going to show you what it takes to get this inside the car with the driver's door. So everyone, quick little update. I've done all the doors, I've refitted them all back on. I'll be honest, looks amazing. Now after that, the next step is basically I'm going to finish off the rear seats. So I've been able to pull off the rear back. What you got to do is, really the hardest part is getting these bits done and removed out. You kind of have to pull on it and push something through inside if you can to kind of pry it away from back here. So you're kind of like coming in through this area and popping it out here, and then you have to bring it downwards to unlatch the top. Another reason why I did put the door back on was so that I can get use again of the electric motors, because this has front electric seats. So I needed to be able to move the seat around to get better access to everything. You do have to pop out these clips at the bottom, just here. Once you've done that, the other thing as well you got to be careful of is the airbags on the sides. But now I'm gonna align everything up and put it all back together. So annoying, but you do what you got to do at times. I'm gonna take the other side off as well, just to kind of do them both at the same time. So everyone, I thought I'd show you the mistake I was making, which I figured out whilst doing the other side. With this, what you have to do is you have to make sure it's facing the right way when you're sliding it in. Earlier on, I was trying to fit it in this way, and I just kept struggling, and I was just like, why is this not going in? Because it's supposed to be this way. So you have to make sure the arch is going across that way. The dimples on this are facing towards the seat, and that's how it will sit in flush to there. You probably don't need to remove this to do that, but I wanted to do it because I wanted to just you know, make sure the wiring and stuff is tucked in as close as it can with the rear part of the seat. That way when I wire it through and follow it along with the other wiring loom here. But what I'm gonna do is, I'm actually having this coming out from the center console side. I was going to kind of switch it around the other way and follow the wiring loom here, but I'm still going to stick to my original idea of putting it that way. It's quite awkward to get this back in, so what I have to do is you kind of have to first get the top part in. First up, you have to get the top pieces wedged in, which that isn't yet. Okay, so that's the top two hooks. Almost went in then, but it just didn't want to play ball. There we go. Top pieces are in. And then you got to kind of bring it back round, up and through again on each side. You have to be careful of the airbag on this side. This one is definitely the hardest one to get round first. It does help to move the seat all the way forward. Moving the seat forward just gives you that little bit more space on each side to do what we need to do. There we go. Muscle it all back into place. So everyone, what I've just done now to prepare for the wiring is put the cable tie through that part inside here, and that's fed all the way down through underneath here. You just got a couple more T20 screws that you just need to take off, one in this corner, one on there, and then you can slide the whole thing down. I've opened this up just to, in case I needed to have more access behind here, but I don't think I need this, so I'll probably close this side piece up later on. But that's it. What I'm going to do is connect the cable up here and then feed it back all the way up out here, and that means the wire is going to be ready to insert on. Feed the wiring through underneath and back into the center console. Do the same on the other side. Once I've done the other side, I'll let you know shortly how that's gone. What I've done here is fed the cable wire through, cable tie through there, and it's actually come out just over here. Kind of had to reach all the way back, get my arm in, really had to grab it from behind the dash and just find it and then bring it out there. So I'm just going to feed the other wire through. And actually with this one, what I noticed was once I fed it through here and actually fed it kind of behind the steering wheel, it came out really nicely back here. So I wanted to give those two little pointers for you all. Just, it helps. Instead of trying to feed it downwards, down over here, just feed it behind, because ultimately you're getting to the same area as you needed to. So just dealing with that now. We're going to route the wiring through, and now I'm going to also start looking at the footwell lights, get those routed at the same time. A little bit more wiring work, and then happy days. So everyone, the issue right now actually isn't really much of an issue. I've sorted out where all the wiring needs to go, and I think I've done a pretty good job. So I'm going to show you all around the interior at the moment and give you some tips and ideas if you want to tackle this yourself. So the wiring for the footwells for the rear and the rear seat, what I've done is I've fed it through. There's a little bit of a space between, I need to move the seat backwards a little bit. So if we look through here, you can see the carpet has a ridge just here, this entire gap. And then I basically pop the wiring underneath this plastic trim. It comes out here and then fed that all the way through to the back. The benefits of doing that means that you're not going to have an issue with the wires getting caught up on the seat rails as you're moving the seat backwards and forwards. It's quite important because obviously you can cause a short if you cut over the wires or anything like that. So it's something to be careful of. All the wiring on the center console has basically been lined up the right places. I've done the footwell lights as well on both sides. So all I got to do now is put back on the middle piece here, get the rear vent wiring all the way over here, and then bit by bit just start actually reassembling the car. The one thing that I've still yet to basically do is the ambient light tube that's going to go over the top here. But other than that, this is basically ready. Looking at installing the X-Trans head unit. So having a quick look at the old head unit. So it is quite a big size comparison there. So at the moment, everyone, I've routed the wire for the GPS. I've routed the wire for the 4G through round underneath here, and it's basically gone. You can just about see it there. It's gonna come all the way through, round, under. I'm gonna bring it up into the dash area here. I'm kind of preparing for that just here. I'm going to use this to kind of feed it all up. I'm going to use it for that side, and on that side I've got the GPS monitor. So it's keeping one on each side. Yes, that does create a little bit more work for me, but it gets a nicer result, and that way both the things are on each side. And then following on from there, I'll be able to put everything back into the places that it's supposed to be. Now I hope I can capture this nicely on camera, but it is so easy once the head unit's removed to put wires through and out here. So as you're about to see, I've come over to this corner area here. I'm going to put the wire through there, and it literally just comes out in this whole area here. So everyone, the car is finally finished. It's actually 4 AM at the moment. I have worked basically through the night. There's still some stuff that I need to do on it really, but we'll catch up on that later. I wanted to show you all the lighting very quickly. If you have a look, that's how it comes on there. I'm going to capture this on my phone because I don't think it's coming out right on the GoPro. Hey everyone, just wanted to say thank you all for watching this extremely long video, but it's great to actually finally get there at the end. Didn't actually do an outro to this video, and actually I think this install was done over a year ago. So yeah, there's some things and bits and pieces that I've just been so delayed on editing and uploading and stuff, so fingers crossed this has been worth the wait. But yeah, hopefully you all did enjoy this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up to show your appreciation, and also leave a comment down below if I could have done anything differently. If this is something that you'd like to get done to your car, well, all the links for the items are in the description down below, as well as contact details for myself if you wanted to look at reaching out to me. Oh, there is the other video coming out which will be for the X-Trans head unit install, but yeah, I will also leave that linked over here. But everyone, I just wanted to say thank you all for watching again, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Peace out. Bye.